We're so good at casual and hilarious racism.
Yeah. Where's my Dre CD?
Do not mock my artistic piece. That's what I call my penis.
What kind of sicko twisted pervert would kill a man in cold blood then jelly up his face with shaving cream? My dad!
Hey, Deathlock. Captain Power called. He wants his fucking outfit back.
No. You don't fuck with Captain Power.
GeekShowPodcast.com.
What's going on with Jay?
He's dancing to Dr. Dre.
It's like a duck call. He can't stop himself.
Wait a second.
Oh! This shit make me want to rob a Korean liquor store.
Well, there's one upstairs. Also, there's no Mormon hell.
There is.
Well, there is, but it's not called hell.
What is it called?
It's called Bush Valley.
It's called Heck. It's called Heck.
It's heck.
It's called Southern Idaho.
Yep.
Or Magna. Magna.
It's called Preston.
Can you imagine what Norwegian porn sounds like? Here, if you could interview.
I bet it sounds a lot like this.
Squirt, squirt, squirt.
He gave it
Wait
to
a minute.
him.
So Santa is Odin?
Santa is Odin.
I don't know if what you're saying is true.
No, I'm dead serious.
But you're saying in an
The
authoritative
I mean, I know
voice,
you're
so I
serious,
believe
but I
you.
don't know if you're honest.
The original, I'm dead serious.
He knows
The
this
original,
shit.
the origins of the Santa mythos come from Norse mythology. He's Odin.
It's true.
The Wild Hunt is 12
It's
days.
true.
The 12 days of Christmas.
Everything
So
you
since-
said.
The 12 days of Christmas are the actual Wild Hunt, where Santa leads all of the armies of Valhalla
Oh,
to
bullshit,
bring
Lee.
No.
presents to the
This
good
is all fact. This is all fact.
and to bring
Really?
torturous ruin to the wicked.
Well, how did
So
it turn
since-
into coal?
I promise you.
Because we whitewash everything and make it palatable. I mean, that's what the New Testament is all about. God in the Old Testament is scary shit. New Testament.
So since most kids
like that
think
better.
that Santa is God, does that make Thor Jesus?
Kind of.
Oh, what the fuck? Did you guys hear that?
And if Jesus had a hammer,
He's a carpenter.
yes.
Oh, my God.
we just solved the Bible!
But Johnny Lingo was in love with Mahana and paid 10 cows for her. So the lesson it's not the outside beauty. It's the inside.
It's also that Johnny's a shitty negotiator.
And that.
Yeah.
That's what
if
we
it says $1,000
I'll tell
on the
you what,
card,
you
you
know
don't
what's
hand over
rad?
10.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce our host and Johnny Lingo expert.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, dude.
Oh, hi. How you doing?
I seriously, I've known you for a quarter century, and never once did I know you knew this much
He'll be
about
hosting.
Johnny.
Yeah, you did miss the payoff though. The payoff was when they see Mahana in a month later.
A month later.
She's the most beautiful woman
Yeah,
on the
she's
island.
So he made like 30 cows to get her some plastic surgery.
And that's where the saying that's a 40 cow facelift came from.
Turns out Johnny Lingo is a master of plastic surgery.
By the way, Carrie, what time are you hosting the Johnny Lingo panel?
I'm hosting the Johnny Lingo panel.
Yeah, that's Saturday at Christmas.
That
actually would be fun.
Be on the panel.
Yeah,
Daniel and I will handle the Johnny Lingo.
I'll find a cow.
that would be funny.
It will be a 10 cow panel.
Shannon, I understand you have a Planned Parenthood punch card now after the Comic-Con.
right?
Yeah. He's
I
behind
don't want to talk about that. I mean,
With 10 abortions, you get a free sandwich.
I'm not the one to. I'm not one to impregnate and tell.
I'm sorry.
What kind of sandwich? It's a trophy that just has a coat hanger on top.
Sloppy Joe's. It's a sloppy Joe.
Damn.
That would be a sketch. Just to let you know, not a skit.
Thanks. Let's talk about scale models sometime.
Oh, no. Oh! See, with Shannon down at the room, I got to tell him, I went back and I watched Superman 2 again.
It's not that good.
Doesn't hold up.
No, it's
I'm
not
sorry.
that good.
I wouldn't say that in front of him.
No, the first is fantastic.
Man of Steel.
Here he comes.
Man of Steel was a great movie.
Yeah, I know, man. Did you see, like...
All right.
But I think
Talk about how shitty Man of Steel was.
No, we're talking about how good it was.
talking about how...
It's like, you know how Batman's always like 3 steps ahead of his enemy? Mm-hmm. Arrow is like always like 9 steps behind. He's just like, what? Oh, God! And I'm just like, and people get my, come on, you're too hard on him. And I'm like, he's a fucking terrible superhero. Just ask his mom.
Oh, he went at your mom's, dog. He went at your mom's, motherfucker.
Jay
I'm
Whitaker.
living the life of a young black man.
Getting pulled over.
Yeah.
Avoiding bill collectors.
Except with the tuna can.
That's right.
Why now Donald Sterling won't even allow Shannon at his basketball games.
That's right. You're not allowed, sir.
Oh, man.
You're not allowed.
cops get really confused when I look at them when they pull me over. They go, what? Young brother can't be successful?
Yeah, this is my Hyundai. I own it.
Yeah.
I own this Hyundai.
My mama died. Left me this Hyundai.
You want to see the lease?
You want to see the lease? All right.
Actually, I'm rolling dirty as fuck in that thing, I realized. I don't have a title.
Jimmy can be the monster and kill everyone.
Yeah.
You can play the monster? Are you shitting me?
No.
Shut the
Oh, who doesn't want to be the monster?
Exactly. That's what made it so awesome. I was like, I want to watch this game.
Oh my god, does the monster have teabagging action?
He will.
If it don't, it will.
He will.
Jimmy will figure it out, I am sure.
Once Jimmy gets done with it. Just the original Marvel Star Wars comics are really
So
fucking bad. I mean, 3/4 of this comic, this one right here that I was just looking at, is the rabbit talking about how he's friends with Han Solo. And as a kid, I'm like, okay, where the fuck is Han Solo?
Because you know what you like at a party? It's that guy who tells you about he's friends with the popular guy who's not there.
Exactly.
Wow, that sounds like fun.
Good morning, how are you? Welcome to Fanex. Get out!
The audio is terrible.
Oh, hello. That would be a good way to get my husband to actually sit down and watch Star Wars.
That's so dirty what I'm going to say.
There is a simple answer. You tell him it's okay. No, I was gonna say, man. The simple truth is, you give him the blowjob, and you tell him if he stops watching Star Wars, the blowjob stops.
Yeah.
But
There's gonna be a special night. You're gonna say this is original trilogy night.
Well, I could say there's another treasure. You gotta use the blowjobs with dancing.
Backdoor pass. Yeah. Backdoor pass for Star Wars. Do not offer that up for the prequels.
Yeah, that's the prequels gets missionary.
Yeah.
The butter is the corn.
No, if he's so excited after the original trilogy, he's got to watch the prequels. Just hand him some lotion.
Just tell him it's a porno called Hardware Wars.
I'm afraid that's all they have for you.
Blowjobs and butt sex.
Came seeking,
And really, that's the only answer we ever have for
you
anybody.
came seeking wisdom and left with anal.
Yes. Hi, I'm Nate, and I'm also known as Chief. Anyways, my question was, if you guys are all superheroes, what would your weakness be? Blowjobs and butt sex. I think so.
Your time has come, Jimmy Martin!
I will try to do this
understand.
Kate Mulgrew voice, and then you translate it into your Kate Mulgrew voice. And
everything we think we know. About our universe is wrong.
I never found out what happened to Baby Boba.
yeah.
He gets some drinks in him, and he's always like, yeah, I'm not going home either. I'm going to stay with you. All right, Baby Boba Fett, let's do this. And he just starts buying me drinks. He's like, I like you, mate. And I'm like, oh, we all broke down. I'm like, he's like, I don't really have any guy friends here in Utah. And I'm like, we'll be friends. Me and you. I'll call you up. We'll like go to lunch and stuff, Boba Fett. That sounds like a great idea. Yes, so that's my new best friend. Sorry, Jeffy. My favorite thing though, in your kitchen when he was on the episode, he goes, he's like, I'm gonna hook you up with all that Boba Fett pussy I can't have no more.
And there's the title of the episode.
We're standing in line waiting to get in, and there's these two Twinkies standing in front of us, that blah, 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 the whole time. And they're not talking about Comic-Con stuff. They're not talking about geek stuff. They're just talking about, I like pudding. Do you like pudding? Pudding's good. Yeah, pudding's fantastic. You know what I like? So Brent Spiner walks up. Okay, I can't talk because it's Brent fucking Spiner. And he walks up to one of the girls and goes, oh, which Powerpuff Girl are you? And she goes, duh. And he walks away. And she goes, who's that creepy old guy? What? To which these words went through my head. You dumb whore! Tell
Tell people about that theory.
So Edward James Olmos is talking to a friend of mine the other night. He pulls out a picture from Blade Runner, and he pulls out a picture from Battlestar Galactica, and he says, they're the same guy. And my friend's like, what are you talking about? He's Adama died 40,000 years ago. And Blade Runner's all about these replicants. They're artificial human life forms. They're Cylons. This guy's a Cylon. They're the same guy. I'm also Batman. And my friend went home and he said he couldn't sleep all night because he was like, the intensity of it just kind of freaked him out.
I was on one other panel. Did the spotlight with Peter David, who's one of my favorite comic book writers in the world.
I understand you brought up the Hulk being choked out by a snake incident.
And he totally agreed with me. The Hulk would not get choked out by a snake. Shannon, but what if it were a gamma? So I could put that argument whenever. I was like, he wrote the Hulk for 12 years, man. But what if it were a gamma ray powered snake? What if you're an asshole?
What if the deal was presented to you by Mephisto himself to get powers?
Oh, shit.
If you make love to a man.
I'm cool. Nah, I'm good, man. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, just not my thing.
It's the powers of Superman.
I'm not a Superman fan.
I'd be like, what man?
All right, I will say that. What man?
And what powers?
Yeah, John Goodman.
Harvey Weinstein.
John Goodman?
I have the powers of Superman.
I'd love to have sex with Gilbert Gottfried, dude. Could you imagine the noises he'd make?
What? Can you imagine the noises?
What are you doing in there? Hey!
Ow! I'm coming!
I'd close my eyes and pretend it was the parrot from Aladdin. I guess mine's Superman too, because I find out two of my best friends fucking hate that movie.
It is pretty stupid. Make it 3.
We don't hate it.
You hate it, and Charlie hates it.
We just finally came to terms with it.
Broke my heart.
We didn't hate it. It just doesn't.
It's amazing.
All right.
No.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you everyone for coming. That's what she said.
Yes.
I'm sorry. I'm giving instructions to the caterer.
Oh.
Right. So keep going.
Caterer? Yeah, no, this is how baller this motherfucker is. I'm giving instructions to the caterer.
The butler will be along shortly to take your orders.
Only podcasts who don't buy their legs can get that. That's right.
Oh,
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah, say it.
Did you see the ad for Lowrider?
Lowrider magazine. They're going to have the new Ghost Rider on the cover because he doesn't have a motorcycle. He drives a car.
A Lowrider.
A Lowrider.
I'm the Ghost Rider, man.
I love it. I'm excited about this new direction. All right.
USA.
Anything else before we go?
I'm the Ghost Rider, man.
Ghost Rider, man. Todos los días.
Ghost Rider.
Hola.
Hola.
Me llamo la Ghost Rider.
Vayo contigo, Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider, a cucuy, man.
Hey. How come he isn't wearing khakis?
Does his motorcycle have the horn that goes da 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 da?
Notice
how
his hairnet burned
Notice
off.
how yes.
Oh.
Is that it?
And we just lost our Latin population.
No, it's awesome. His Ghost Rider outfit, he's got creased, like his pants have a crease down the side.
The fact that he's wearing a leather sombrero is really cool.
Yeah. I don't know what he's going to do with all
We're
this.
all going to hell.
Imagine if he saw that guy outside Home Depot looking for work.
I think you'll burn my grass.
Let me just apologize to Sergio right now. All right. It's all with love, Sergio. You know that.
That's fucked up, man.
All right. There's too many venues for all of these shows I want to watch. Now, I mean, I can afford it, but most people,
right?
They have to choose.
Did you hear that?
Well,
you know,
remains.
Did you hear that? I can afford it.
Well, you people. The nice.
Shannon,
I'm pointing at Shannon and giving him that face
Shannon,
that says my N-word.
Have another beer. Sorry.
I'm gonna.
My concern remains.
By the way, I was gonna say. By the way, thanks for buying it. You rich motherfucker.
She sent me a picture of the superhero
lingerie, dong hat.
Dildos.
Oh, dildos.
That they sell.
The Hammer of Thor.
How big is the Black Panthers?
This one's called Mjolnir.
My favorite is the Green Lantern Dawn.
And I mean, she knows how I feel about full frontal male nudity, and this was even worse. I'm like, poor Nicole, what are you doing? And she goes, we sell a lot of this shit.
Was it so like the Hulk's dick?
There's a Hulk dick.
There's a Hulk dick.
Batman dick.
Would you buy it, Shannon? You're smiling right now.
That'd be a weird thing to put on my Hulk shelf.
There's
by the way, Shannon, I believe it's called the Gamma Bomb.
Batman v Superman.
I just don't understand why Batman's suing Superman.
Dun, dun, dun. Dun,
Coming into the
dun,
court.
dun.
Batman says that Superman ruined his satellite.
So
he's suing for $1.5 million in pain and suffering.
It can only be $5,000.
That's right, small claims.
Batman put Superman on his cell phone bill.
He said it was a gift.
And it's got to be Jeff.
Adam Sandler's back.
Okay.
Do you feel my enthusiasm? With Drew Barrymore, which I was excited about. Blended.
She cannot tame his inner moron.
It's true. I mean, like, when I walked out, they're like, what'd you think? And I was like, Adam Sandler does his absolute damnedest to bring her down to his shitty level of filmmaking.
Well.
And she's like, I'm not going to do it.
And there's a Hulk that is a giant, like, puppet exoskeleton that is on top of a guy.
I'm going to make love to it.
Yes?
Yes.
I
will fuck you, Giant Hulk.
No, Giant Hulk will fuck you.
No.
Indeed.
Don't make me angry. I will fuck you, Angry Hulk.
Let's see.
One of us is not going to be joining us today.
Mm-hmm. Shortly after the episode went up, I think.
Yeah, it would have been a few hours after the episode went live last week.
Jeff Michael Weiss died.
And there's not a whole lot more to say, except
Not
we're going
really.
to say it for an hour or so. Jeff had an asthma attack.
Yes, thank
correct.
A massive asthma
And
attack.
I don't know were there allergies involved.
Probably not.
And it closed up his throat, and he couldn't breathe. And by the time he was breathing again, he had been without oxygen for too long, and that was, other than the fact that Jeff, being a great guy, was a donor, and many of his organs went to people. That's, in a nutshell, and as calmly as I can say it, that's what happened.
Yeah.
It was excruciating because we were all just sitting there, and we were waiting. We were waiting for news that we already knew was coming. And because of circumstances, we just had to sit there and wait and wait and wait. And it couldn't happen with a better bunch of people. There were lots of people that came and went, right? But there was a core group that was there, and I mean, Carrie, I always call you my captain, but you were there sitting at that. We all had our chairs.
Yeah.
You know, and
sitting at the head.
Yeah, and you were there, and
I'm one of those people who needs a task when stuff like this happens. So
Yeah, Carrie, I really appreciate how solid you were, and you were there for me anytime I had questions.
I mean, this is all so crazy. Like, think about it. Like, who has problems like, oh shit, we got to find a funeral home big enough to have this funeral.
I remember we were sitting in the room there, and we're talking about preparing for a funeral of some kind. And I'm like, well, how big is the funeral home? So, well, it only holds about 100.
That'd be
like,
worse.
oh no,
it's not enough. Well, let's see. The Tower Theater owes me a favor. How much is that? Oh, it's only like $240. Yeah. And we're like, Jesus, we got to find a hall.
Yeah, I think because you texted me and I said, maybe Broovies, and we're like,
not big enough.
Not big enough.
Best text I've ever had.
Yeah.
Through all this ordeal, I get this text. Can you talk? He's like, yeah. So I call Carrie. He says, how many do you think we need? I said, 1,000. You sure? Yeah. We need 1,000. So we found a place for 700, but I think we pretty much filled it.
No. And that's like I said, there were about 600 there.
That's the thing that people that just know Jeff through the show have no idea about, that he was just beloved in this city. Like he was, and he had 15 different circles of friends, right? And if you looked around, there was the group of punk rockers sitting over there.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There was the film critics.
That one made me laugh.
There were
during my speech, I was like, "Where are my film critics?" And they were just all like,
in the same area.
It was like a junior prom. Like, they're like, we're just gonna hang on this wall together,
There were these guys were friends of mine in high school who became friends of Jeff's through me, and even though we didn't talk and stuff anymore, he was still friends with them. So this group of people I went to high school with, and
there were a bunch of Deseret News people there who I haven't seen in a number of years myself.
Even to the right of the stage, there was a lot of the big shiny robot people.
Well, Sue described it. My wife described it beautifully. It was like a silent storm. You didn't realize how many people he had touched until you saw it manifested there that day with all of those different kinds of people all gathered in one place.
Perfect.
Connie's great in so many ways. I mean, she helped the family out a lot. She helped a lot of us out a lot, and then she also made sure that Jeff was properly armed for Strobocore.
Tell him.
So she. A thing that Jeff said a lot was, and wackiness ensues. That was kind of a thing he said. You'd tell a story and he'd be like, and wackiness ensues.
He said it on Big Movie about 900,000 times.
Well, because Jeff had Jeffisms, and that's I've had entire conversations with Jeff where his only answer was, "You are correct, sir."
Yes, yes.
Right, and that's all he said. And right,
and
touch his nose.
But or this one,
but. And a new variation of it, babe.
Right. You see, we never got that. But she shows up. She shows up at the funeral, and she's standing there with a lightsaber. And we're all like, "Well, that's kind of cool." And she says, why would a minister show up at a funeral with a lightsaber, with a lit lightsaber?" And she ignites it. She puts it on his casket, and she says, and wackiness ensues.
Yeah.
And so for the next 5-6 minutes, everybody's standing around being all somber, and just Shannon starts laughing his ass off because you can hear in the background while people are doing their, "Oh, he had such a nice one."
Somebody asked on Facebook, because there's a picture of me and Carrie with the flask taking a shot in front of him.
Yeah.
And someone said, "Did you pour out a little bit for him?" And I go, no. We sent him off with a full flask.
That's right.
His brother got buried with action figures. I think Jeff got the better deal.
He got
Spider-Man from you.
He got Spider-Man from you.
I threw my King's keychain from him because Go Kings.
Somebody put a Lego in.
His mother did.
She put
Legos.
I didn't know it was her.
We wondered who did that. Oh, nice.
It never dawned on me that I would ever. I mean, let's sit here for a minute. Which one of us was going to go first?
Oh yeah. I walked up. I ran into Punk.
Yeah.
I ran into Punk at
Punk, who hasn't necessarily been on the podcast a lot, but he was there with GeekShow when it was on the radio originally. Yeah. He was one of the OG participants.
And he is not well.
No, he hasn't been well for a very long time.
And I walked up and I looked at Punk David. I looked at him. I'm like, how the fuck are we at Jeff Weiss's funeral?
And again, the only, I mean, for those of you who didn't know him, the closest I can come to is when my friends were killed in a car accident a few months ago. That it was so completely out of the blue and so unfair and so horrifying, but that's the same feeling that I have with Jeff. Except I knew Jeff a lot better.
I just wish this conversation could have happened in that ward house in Payson yesterday.
Geek Show podcast sitting in a fucking ward house in Payson.
Eating them funeral potatoes.
I don't know about you guys. I didn't feel out of place.
If you've ever been to a ward house, then you kind of understand what we're talking about. If you've ever been to a small town in the south end of
Utah County,
we're talking Mayberry with a Mormon church in it, right?
Yeah.
And so we're all out in the parking lot, accidentally passing a flask around.
Accident.
And then we went into a different world.
No, but it was so funny. I love what Tony said.
What Tony said was so good. He's like, all right, guys.
After they all got out of the cars, I looked at him and said, "Guys, as long as you're touching me when we walk through the doors, you won't get burned."
And then we got in touch with the gym. I remember Janice goes, "Why am I itching so much?" And I was like, "My feet are hot."
And then I looked at Jay and I said, "Hey, congratulations on being the first black guy that's probably ever walked in this church." I'd like to introduce everybody to Erica Shaw.
Hi.
Jeff Weiss's girlfriend.
She's kind of been through some shit this week.
Well,
yeah.
And I'll just...
We've all been through some shit, but not quite like Erica.
since you've only known him for such a short period of time, I thought it would be kind of nice if we all told you about him.
Yes, that would be great.
Told you some stories, perhaps.
You didn't know he was in the CIA, did you?
I guess he's walking out of his apartment. He's trying to walk down the stairs and just trips over his own feet at the top of the stairs. Flies down the stairs. Misses every single stair. And just fucking cracks his forehead on the door handle of the door to get out of his apartment.
He was beautiful for a
Did
while.
not kill him, right? Obviously. But he shows up the next time I see him, and he's got the perfect
imprint
of his on his forehead. It looks like if you had a key, you could have stuck a key in and open his fucking head. And I was like, oh my god. Jeff was a little accident prone.
Yes.
A little.
He's also really practical.
That's so putting it lightly.
So he was the only guy I'd call. Shit, sorry. How you feeling, man? Oh, I sprained my ankle in my sleep, buddy.
Oh my god!
What?
You told me that story.
How the fuck do you do that?
That's a real answer.
No, he dislocated it, and then he had to pop it back into place.
In his sleep?
In his sleep.
So Logan rides by on his motorcycle. I'm like, oh look, there goes Logs. Mikey T goes riding by.
Beautiful man.
He goes riding by on his motorcycle. I'm like, oh look, there's Mikey T. He's going by on his motorcycle. And about 3 minutes later, there's Jeff goes chugging along the sidewalk on his tricycle. Like, where are you going, Jeff? Going with them. I'm going with those guys. He's going with those guys. They're going to go get wings and cheap beer.
For those who don't know, Vice. He had a grown-up tricycle.
Yeah. It was
with a big basket.
A man's
basket.
tricycle? Is that the best way to put it?
Yeah.
A man's?
It was a man's.
He had a man's
An adult-sized tricycle.
And I am in possession of said
He's the custodian of the tricycle.
You are the custodian.
And I want to kind of hear from you guys what he was like when you guys did the podcast. Because from what I can tell...
The dude was living Wikipedia.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
No. He was accurate.
All right, good point.
No.
Good point. He was living Google.
I've got my phone right here. But if I want a question about it, I'd be like, who's the director of that movie? I didn't go to IMDb.
Yeah.
I asked Vice.
You leaned that way.
Do you know how
send him
it
a
was?
text.
I mean, like I said,
It was faster.
big movie will continue. There's no doubt in my mind. But I got to fucking amp up my shit because, we would...
critic.
Yeah, you what?
I mean, I used to remember things better when I was younger, but I still would say, Jeff, what was...
Yeah, I mean, last night at Broovies, someone asked the movie question, like, oh, who's that star in that movie or like this? And I immediately, I did like that, and I got it. And I go, I just fucking viced.
I viced you.
That's a new term. You viced it.
The thing that I always found amazing about him, and I didn't realize it until this last week, is he was so different with everybody. And so I see his relationship with Jimmy. I see his relationship with Jay. I've seen his relationship with Shannon for decades now. But he was always... Because I was such a phenomenal potential nuclear bomb when I was young, he was always really...
When he was young.
I'm not fucking around, actually. I was a borderline psychotic mess at all times when I was a teenager. And borderline. So he was always really patient with me. He was always really... There were always those things that I was ready to go. And I'm a big man. I can do a lot of damage. I can destroy things very, very quickly. And he knew that. I knew that. And he tempered that. Always tempered that. And so... as I grew older and mellowed out and through his help and other people's help, learned how to contain that anger or think before I talk, before I lay waste and devastation to people.
And Lee, I think he passed that on to you because you've done it for me several times. You did it for me last night because there was somebody I felt was acting very inappropriately at the Broovies gathering last night, and I was going to fucking kill them.
Yeah.
And
it was something.
you talked me down.
Yeah, you're that man for me too, Lee.
Well, he is the spiritual advisor.
Yeah, he's a little bit older than me, a little bit.
He's a little bit younger than
This
me, but not
motherfucker-
as much as many people thought.
Can we just say this
Yeah,
about
this motherfucker looked 35.
about both of you? Actually,
Oh yeah, we said
Wait, hold on.
something back.
Let me read you a text that I had with Jeff.
Because Jeff did not look his age.
No.
Oh, the first time I found out
Absolutely
Jeff's
not.
age, I was blown away.
Yeah.
Like
He's 49.
49.
I'm old enough to be his somewhat older brother, but
He told me his age at Broovies, and I said, "You fucking 48? Get the fuck out of here."
That's my point.
I said, "I'm a black dude who likes hockey." He's like, "Really? What's your favorite team?"
One of my favorite things I've heard is somebody, this wasn't coming from Jeff, this was coming from a lady that came into the restaurant once who may have been an exotic dancer of some sort.
Sure.
And he was, may have been at a place that she worked at, and he told her how old he was on his 47th birthday. He said, "That's amazing. You don't look that at all. What's your secret?" And he said, "Lots of water and no responsibility."
All right, so this is a text exchange I had with Jeff, well, I guess last week. Talking about Erica, my new little buddy. I'm like, can I ask how old she is? It doesn't matter. I'm just curious. I'm super happy for you.
Because let's be honest, we all thought you were like maybe 22. You know,
I kind of get that.
And
There's all the Miley Cyrus bumper stickers on your van.
we said she looked young. We didn't say she was stupid.
And he answers back 31. And I say, you guys are both deceptively young looking. If you had a baby, it would come out looking like a single cell. and he answers back, or turn into Benjamin Buttons.
There you go.
To be fair, she is also the only one who said fuck at his funeral.
Oh, that's okay.
Twice? Or 3 times? Something
Just
like
twice.
that.
And she fucking nailed it.
That's what she said. We fucking nailed it, babe.
Ladies and gentlemen, every member of Geek Show spoke, and only his cute little girlfriend said fuck. I was
Well, that's the thing is,
I was like, this is awesome.
you guys keep calling me his cute little girlfriend, but apparently you don't know me that well.
No, I believe it's just that we're sexist.
I felt the room.
No,
It might be.
I think there's a reason why the relationship worked, and it's that he got together with someone who was willing to say fuck at his funeral twice. So.
Well, not willing. That's how we talk to each other.
Yeah.
We liked that word.
It's a good word.
Everyone does.
Great word.
But
Zip.
our last few texts to each other were, "Hey, do you want to have sex in the projection room?" And his answer was, yes.
Yes. I'm not going to be able to go in that projection room anymore.
Yeah, I know.
You know what's
but
really
we
weird
didn't
is that I
get
have
to
almost
see.
the same text in my phone. It's so
What's
I want to say this since I'm not a part of Geek Show, but I am an observer here. One thing that attracted me to him is that he was so damn confident. And even though he was a silly-ass boy, man, I loved that he owned it, right? He would just be silly. And I was like, wow, this guy, he could get any girl he wants just because he has that confidence. But I think the reason why he had it, I really think it was you guys. I think he felt cool because he had the best friends in the world. And, you know,
And hundreds
he
of
could
them.
share his knowledge weekly with you guys and feel like he was contributing. And so I thank you guys for that. He loved each one of you so much. Can I say something really quick?
Please.
I didn't get to be with Jeff very long. But you know, we had a great future planned, and it would have been really great. I'm gonna miss him, and I'm so grateful that I got those 2 weeks with him.
We're glad you had him.
And I'm gonna tell you right now, you got 5 new best friends sitting right here. 5, 6 new friends. 7, whatever. I can't fucking count.
Yeah, I've got a lot more than that too.
Should we play it?
Well, let me.
Sorry, man.
Yeah.
I mean, what else do I say? You know, Vice more ham.
There's an ancient tradition on Kronos. When a Klingon warrior dies, we announce that one of our fallen is entering Stomachore by shouting at the loud as their fucking lungs can carry it. Yes!
Love you, buddy.
Love you.